Okay, we're live.
Okay,
Mhm.
we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is the Attica Board of Works and Safety for 4/7/2026. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and would the clerk please call roll?
Mayor Grant,
Present?
Mr. Smart,
Present.
Mr. Gaylor,
Present.
Attorney Redlin.
Present.
Okay, Mayor.
Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the previous meeting? That would be 3/17/26.
Yes, and I'll make a motion we approve.
A second. Have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. There's that.
Did you want to do this under citizens petitions? I didn't think to ask you that prior to
We can.
the meeting starting. I just wasn't sure where to put this.
Citizens petitions, I think Mrs. Broadwater has a petition that was given to her.
We have a city resident that is asking for an extension to pay on her water bill. She currently has a past due amount of $85.09 that's due by the 10th. The total bill due is $178.39 with the current amount due on the 20th, $93.30. She's just asking for an extension to pay the full $178.39 by April 20th.
Okay. I think that's doable. What do you guys think?
I think that'd be fine. Agree.
I'll make a motion that we approve that to extend that out to April 20th.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And I should note that this is how we're gonna do these going forward. We'll ask residents to fill out the form so they don't have to come here in front of the board personally and talk about their finances and things. So I think that's great that we're able to do that, and we can stay within the current ordinance as it is written by doing it this way, so we don't have to change the ordinance or anything.
And then we might see occasions where people are coming in 2 or 3 days before it gets shut off. So
There's probably gonna be exceptions to that,
Yeah.
but even then, I think we can
give them
talk
a
to them,
form and try to
give
let
them
them
the
know.
form and have them fill it out, and
Yeah.
turn it in, and not have to come up here and
Yeah.
talk in
Agree.
front of us.
Good idea.
So there's still ways to get around that. Department heads, Mr. Swank.
I do not have anything this evening.
You're my favorite, Eric.
I want to
You
thank
saying
you.
which one?
Thank you,
Both.
guys.
No, Eric Swank's not talking,
I
so
said Mr. Swank.
I know.
Want to thank you for the work you guys did down at the Riverfront Park. That I drove down there this weekend and did a little poking around, and it looks really, really good. And I know that Mr. Moss is working on getting the monument ready for down there. Tentatively, we're shooting for May the 10th at 2 p.m. for that ceremony down there to dedicate that park. So just so
That's
you
for the
know,
family that lost their life in the fire.
yeah,
2 p.m. you said?
yeah.
Tentative park dedication.
Chief Little is not here. I know they have a open house coming up this weekend at the fire station. So I want to make sure that that's on everybody's radar. You can get down there and get a tour of the fire station. Chief Miller, met with him earlier today. He is not able to be here this afternoon either. But we do have Eric Smith from HWC here.
Unfortunately, I'll keep you from adjourning very, very quickly, but I've got two things. The first one does not require any action. It's more for information at this point. Joanne, I'll give you my copy once I have.
All right, thank you very much.
This is on the water system. The mayor and I had spoke and along with Eric Swank about the potential of looking at an alternative location for your water supply wells. Right now, as you know, you've got 2 wells that are along the river that they currently pump into that stripper building that was built in 2009. goes through that process, and then there are high service pumps that pump out of there all the way up into the new ground storage tank, and then there are pumps up there that, based on the level in the elevated tank, pump out of the ground tank into the elevated tank, and that pressurizes the two zones of your system. Obviously, with all that elevation change, there is a lot of head that those pumps have to overcome. So that means a lot of horsepower, a lot of electric costs. But really the crux of it is, having to operate that stripper building. Obviously, there was agreements with EPA to fund the maintenance of that, but we're coming up on a period where that may end. I know there's still some discussions that we may have with them, but the city does own ground. And on your second page, it's a spot here south of the existing tank sites. It's just to the east of Golf Ridge Drive. It has access there. Then there's a parcel to the west of there that actually the Attica Redevelopment Commission owns, just south of Foster Drive area. So we looked at that. We also looked at maybe putting one or two wells on that side and maybe one on the tank site. Unfortunately, with what is there and the separation requirements, we really can't get one on the tank site. So we focused this on that other side. So IDEM requires that you control a 100-foot radius around your wells. That parcel is 185 feet east to west. So if we were to site wells there, we would need to get another 15 feet. Best place to get it would be from that parcel that is to the west of there. It's only 15 feet. That's if this looks feasible, that's something we can talk with them about. If you look at the third page, we start looking into kind of the geology of the two different sites. The bedrock is what we're looking at here, and the elevation of the bedrock at the existing well field is about 500, and the ground elevation at that location is about 520. So you don't have much before you really get into the good limestone bedrock on the site where the wells are now. At the potential new site, the bedrock is about 600 feet, and the ground is about 680. So you've got more overburden before you get into the bedrock. And what I mean by overburden, a lot of is alluvial glacial till that's been deposited there. The other difference is, and this is how they classify geology, the existing well field is in the Mississippian geological formation, whereas the new area would potentially be in the Pennsylvanian geological formation. And there are characteristics for each one. In general, it's more of a pure limestone at the Mississippian, there where the existing wells are. There on top of the hill, it's more of a mix of sandstone, fractured limestone, shale, and even some coal seams. So it's a little bit of a mix rather than a pure bedrock geological formation. But the elevation, the high water mark at the ground tank is 723. So you're going to be pumping to a much lower elevation at this new site potentially. So if you have a groundwater level of 640 at the new well field during drawdown, you're looking at 83 feet of static head. And, we've made some rough estimations based on pumping at 1,000 gallons per minute, which is what we're pumping down there. And using your typical rate, you could save $40,000 just in pumping costs alone at that site.
I knew that had to be a pretty good number, but I didn't know how to come at it.
What we don't know is if we can get the quantity of water that we need at that site. So what we've done here is basically what I would call some due diligence to see, number one, if it's feasible, if it's worth taking the next step. The next step would be to have the town's well driller do first, what they normally do is do some test holes where they would bore a small 2-inch hole to see what the formation is, just to verify what all the maps show and see what's actually there. Then they would normally, if that looks favorable, then they would put in a small pump, test pump it. If it passes that test, then they would put in a larger temporary test pump to see if you could get the kind of quantities that you need, like 1,000 gallons per minute, like you're getting at the existing well field. So that would be the next step. It does look like it's reasonably favorable that could work. We would need to get, like I said, an extra 15 feet. Based on what we've seen, right now you don't treat other than what you're required to treat because of the past contamination, the stripper building. When I say treat, is you don't filter. You don't filter for iron. All you do is add chlorine to your raw water. There are other wells in this area that are in this Pennsylvanian type of formation, Covington, Petersburg, Williamsport, and we work with a couple of those, and they don't have to treat either because their iron levels are low enough. You always get concerned the farther away you get from the river, the formation could be different, and your raw iron levels can fluctuate. So if you had to filter, then I think that would really deter that this might be a more economical option, because you might be able to get rid of operating the stripper building. You're going to have to operate a filtration plant if the iron levels are 2-3 parts per million or whatever they might be. So that's something we'd need to look at, and when they do the test well, they could determine that. So I did. Mayor and I spoke about this earlier, and I can give him some estimates of what other test exploratory drilling has cost in other communities, so what you might be looking at this next step to see if you can get the kind of water you might need there. So that would be the next step. There's no action you need to take tonight. That's just kind of the due diligence we've done so far, and if you want to take the next step, we can.
Okay, it's great news so far. Thrilled to hear that, and I knew those pumping costs had to be a lot lower. I just didn't know how to get to that number.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that panned out too.
How much would a project like this cost, and how would it be paid for? Wouldn't be increased taxes, would it?
Well, not taxes. It would all be tied to your rates.
Okay.
It depends on.
This is water and sewer, so
Okay.
that's part of the utility rather than tax
Yeah.
dollars.
Okay, so we just have to get a bond and pay it through our budget.
Depending on what the cost is, look and see if our current rates would be able to support the expense. I don't know if they would, but possibly.
You would take longer term expenses into account when we would do that analysis, and we work with like Baker Tilly, but they would also want to know is, well, what effect will that have on your annual costs? Well, we could show some reductions,
Right.
although you would have some adds, which would not only be your debt, if you had to take out any debt, but any new operational costs, so that
Right.
you'd see how those balanced out and if your existing rates are able to support it.
Right, I was just gonna say, right now, we're getting a reimbursement from Kraft Foods of $40,000 a year, and that's going away in 2029, so 2.5
And
years.
that's kind of why I was trying to get ahead of this.
So that's gonna increase our costs by $40,000 a year right there. By
Yeah.
doing that.
And then
It was a
Offset.
20-year agreement from.
And then the savings in the pumping between those two numbers, that's kind of where I was backing into this at was, we'll save the pumping costs from pumping it to the river all the way up there. And then this $40,000 a year, and that could go up. I mean, I don't know. Didn't you say last year we actually spent more
Oh, it
than
was
that?
substantially more than that. We just won't get that reimbursement.
Right, so
Yeah.
it could be $60,000.
Oh, Right, right, because right now
So-
we're paying for everything over 40,000, and it's because it's in the contamination zone.
Yeah,
I
The
will,
other good thing about this location is hydraulically, it's out of any of that contamination zone, so.
I will say one thing, the quality of the water down there is really good. I mean,
Mhm.
I will say that
Yeah.
for Attica. I mean, it's probably your best water right there.
well, until it got contaminated.
Well, yeah, but you're still pulling out of the,
I know, but You know, we used to be able to, I remember years ago when my mom worked down here, they used to say Attica had the best water in the state of Indiana. It always tested better than anywhere else. And now with the contamination from Kraft Foods, you can't say that because we have to treat it now where we didn't have to treat it before.
Now, where do they stand on that? Is this a constant thing for a lot of years that they'll have to continue
I
to do
think
that,
that,
or is that winding down?
I think they set it for 20 years because I think they thought that the plume would have dissipated and you might not need the treatment. But based on some correspondence we saw from them,
That might not always be there. We might,
they're saying that it hasn't dissipated like they thought it was going to.
Right.
what were you saying, Eric?
Well, and a couple of years ago, they even came and put activated charcoal in the ground up there at RMC because they were trying to capture before it made it further downwind. And I don't know what the results of that are at this point. They'll probably be back this spring or summer and do, more. They've got test wells all over the city. But it has, I know last time there was, what was her name?
Sundar,
I believe.
yeah.
Yeah, and she used to take care of this area and she relocated to the Ohio branch, I believe, at the EPA. But the last time she had spoke with Dwayne and I about it, she couldn't give us a definite date because she didn't, because it, like Eric had said, it hadn't dissipated at the rate that they thought that it was going to. So this may be something that continues for another 50, 100 years.
Okay, well, that's something we got to consider
we
too.
don't have light at the end of the tunnel.
I mean,
Somebody's
my
gonna
point is
do that.
if that's going to be taken care of.
If we knew it was going to go away in
Yes.
2 years.
I think the water quality is better down there. And, you'd always take a chance of coming up here, your water quality's not the same.
I think
You know.
before you took the leap and said, we're going to build this, I think that some discussions with EPA would be warranted to see
Yeah.
what they really think.
Mhm.
They may not be able to give you a definitive answer, but at least it would factor in your decision whether, is this an endless process you're going to have, or is it just taking a little longer than the initial 20 years? they
Right.
thought? I think some of their testing and analysis ought to be able to allow them to give us some good
Because if we
answers.
see daylight at the end of the tunnel with this and it gets remediated, I don't think we need to fix something that's not broken. But that's the big question is where do we stand with that? And I know it's,
Well, look at it this way though, too. If that scrubber went away today, let's just say the water's, it's fine. And that scrubber goes away today, you're still paying $40,000 more a year to pump the water from down there to up there.
yeah, but what will this project cost? $2-3 million?
No,
I think it's going to take a long time to pay that off.
It's not those numbers you just said.
You don't think it's gonna be that high?
No, for two wells of that size, and given the proximity of the piping, I think you could probably get the whole project done for under $1 million.
Okay.
I've not
Those are
run,
things you said, right?
I've not run any real good
Okay.
numbers on it, but
And electric costs aren't going down.
No, and
They're
only thing is I
going up.
worry about the water quality. I'd like to know what the water quality is.
Well,
up there.
and I think we'll find that out.
yeah, you would want to test that to see
Right.
before you.
We'll know
decide.
what it is.
Right. It's an interesting thing. I appreciate it. I think there's some things to think about.
I'm just trying to get
No,
ahead
I
of
get
it.
it. I get it.
I want to be clear too, Kraft Foods got mentioned, but they didn't really contaminate.
No,
it.
they
They
just,
inherited-
they
Yeah.
inherited the
They
problem.
got stuck
Yeah.
with
Yes.
the
Right.
bill.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Maybe.
Okay. I just was some concerns.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Okay.
Yeah, we shared a little bit of the history in the memo, so. which I think most of us know about.
Yep.
Okay, here's the other item that I had to talk about. We had, Mayor Joanne, Eric and I had talked with the city grant administrator about a potential, we first started talking about looking at a stormwater and sanitary planning grant where you could study both utilities. That process has become pretty difficult to get through Okra, even though that's kind of the cornerstone of their program is to do planning so you can determine how best to help these community utilities, but they've made it more competitive and it's tough to get. So we kind of refocused it, you know, what area do we need to fix as far as drainage, and the area to the southwest down on South Brady, that area has kind of come up several times as a problem area. So we suggested maybe doing a study to determine how to fix that, develop a scope of work that we could then go in and get a $700,000 grant for, to hopefully fix those problems, or at least address drainage in that area. So what you have before you is a proposal to do that study. Basically, I've included everything west of Council, south of State Road 28, down to Sycamore, and then over toward, you know, the river. Generally that area. We've done some initial mapping of what's there, so we've kind of got a good feel for what exists. Some of it we knew because the section of Perry Street that was redone, we have some good plans of those. So this study would allow us to evaluate the watersheds, determine where the problems are, make recommendations for new storm sewers, new inlets, open ditches potentially, try to address all the problem areas in there. We might not be able to, there may not be enough money to fix that whole area, but we'll tailor a project that you could get the grant from. And we talk, you know, we've got, city's got the match for the grant. So if we were able to get this done, which I've got a time frame in here of 90 days, the next grant round is round 2 of this year, which the proposals go in October, so we could easily be ready for that if the city wanted to go in. So I had prepared this once, and then Eric got with me. They had a little thing they didn't know about on the north end. There's a existing storm sewer that crosses North Perry and also crosses the railroad. It's kind of an old box. It's got sandstone, a wood flow line, and kind of a concrete cap. So he asked if we could add that because they're going to need to deal with that at some point. Part of what's in the cost for us to do this study is to do some televising, because there's some storm sewers in that south area that we really don't know where they go and what condition they are. So we had money in there for somebody to come in and televise them. Well, we've added another 1,500 feet to televise this sewer that he found there, so we can make a recommendation of how bad is it. And, you know, because the fear is if that concrete cap is in bad condition in more places than just the one place they found, they could have other sinkholes that could come up. So we've added that to the study. So the total fee is $32,250 to do all that.
I do got a question. I'm not trying to go left field here, but I know the process that, you know, when we add new water lines or sewer lines, how do we track that? Do we update those on a master plan, master list?
We have a GIS map of all the utilities, and like the last water project, we've updated that GIS map based on what we found.
So we can see where what is, because I know that's kind of been a thing in the past, like Eric's thinking, my gosh, you know, I don't know where some of this stuff runs. There's really not a true accurate mapping.
Still that way every day.
Okay.
And there's still a lot of areas where we've not dug and he's not dug. And when we did the GIS mapping, all we can do is basically what's on the surface. So we map valves, hydrants, you know.
Okay.
Sometimes those mains sneak around between valves, and you know, but we try to get it as best we can.
But when we do this study, that gets inputted and it kind of gives us a better picture.
Yes,
of what we have and where it's at.
What we find down there, we would add that stormwater stuff onto your GIS.
Okay, that'd be really handy because I'm sure,
Yeah.
you know a lot about it, but the next guy coming in, he's probably thinking, what the heck, you know? So yeah, anytime we can keep that up to date, that would be awesome. Okay.
So I understand correctly, and everybody else understands this 32,250 basically gets us the information we need to apply for the grant.
Yes. Yep. If you're successful, which, and I wouldn't recommend you do it until you know you get the grant. Once you get the grant, then we would actually design it. So you wouldn't pay for any of that until you know you're going to get the grant.
I'm sure with all the age of our storm sewers, we're probably
32,250.
really due for something along those lines.
Oh, it's got to come out of the sewer. of the sewer fund.
It is.
It's sewer,
everything
sewer,
is
it's not
part-
stormwater,
They're
right?
probably quite
Sewer.
Stormwater.
It come out of the stormwater fund. That's the one when we had the joint meeting in here, we looked at what our fund balance was.
Right.
And there was more than enough money to
Okay,
cover
I
this.
just wanted everybody to
Yeah.
understand that.
Yes. Yeah, that was one of the first things
So
we
you're-
checked was.
You're
the-
confident we have the
Oh.
money in there to.
Yes, we've
Okay.
got, yes, our fund balance is substantial.
Okay,
And that's
good.
one of the
We
reasons why.
can't take that money and spend it in other places.
Right.
but it
But
can be
it's in the
spent on this.
stormwater
Yeah.
fund.
Yeah,
It
and
can be
it
spent.
sounds like
Yeah,
it's
that's fine.
something we desperately need to do.
And those same funds could be used to fund your match when you.
Right,
if you- if
right,
you get
right.
the grant.
Yes.
I think it's a good idea personally, in my opinion.
A slam dunk, right? Needs done.
Yeah.
It's needed done for a long time.
Yeah, all of our infrastructure.
Yeah, I agree with you. I
We
agree.
need to be proactive and start definitely upgrading as we go along.
Absolutely.
No, I
Not
get it.
very
Thank you.
much
I
new, pipe and.
And you live it, and you see it every day, so if you're saying that, I'm sure Mayor deals with that too. And so, yeah, I think it's a good idea. I'll make a motion that we use that $32,250 to apply for the grant.
Got a
I'll
motion?
second.
Got a second? All in favor? Aye. Anything else, Eric?
All I've got.
Well, that was easy. Thank you. Appreciate you coming up.
Thank you.
It's a nice day for a road trip.
What?
Unfinished business. We don't have any unsafe building orders.
We do.
We do?
Actually, we
We
do
do?
have two set for review, 208 South Perry and 210 and 212 South Perry.
Oh, okay.
208 South Perry.
Correct.
And what'd you say with the other?
And the other one was 210 and 212. It's one parcel, but two
Okay.
addresses. The owner,
Downtown, the bare necessities.
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
it was set for review hearing today. It was served upon the owner. I guess I would ask the board to consider setting another review and then at the next meeting, start the consideration of fines for
Did they
Completely
get
disregarded.
it? Did they get
Yeah.
the service? Okay.
served by sheriff in Warren County.
Okay, thank you.
So our next meeting, that would be for the first meeting in May, would be May 5th. So is the board interested in setting it for review on that day instead?
So we requested an earlier date
No, we asked for them to come today.
today.
Yes, and they did not.
They did not. Did they respond or anything?
Nothing.
So I guess my question is, why would we give them till May 5th then? Is
Um,
there something?
kind of as a last ditch effort of comply with this order or the fines are going to be levied or
Yeah.
considered by the board.
Yeah, I would think that'd be in my letter that if they do not show up the next meeting we schedule, we will levy
Yeah, I
fines.
agree.
Agree, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's precedent before.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
always given
We've
people
always
Right.
given them.
Right,
that
right.
warning
Okay.
before we've levied it. That's
Yeah.
consistent with what the board's always done.
Is that a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That's all we have for those today.
Great, thank you.
That was May 5th.
Correct.
Thank you.
Payroll.
Payroll next.
Credits. Utility credits. I have 3.
Everything looked to be in order, Mr. Swain?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion, guys? Anything to this?
No, they look fine to me.
Okay.
I was kind of aware of all of them.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You didn't move that
Nope.
one, did you?
Nope, I've got one. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Payroll.
If Joanne says they look good, I say they look good.
It looks good.
All right, I'll make a motion, we approve payroll.
I'll second. Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
There's that.
Thank you.
Next up is disconnect. And we have 13.5 pages of disconnects, most of which are usually paid by the time that comes time to actually shut them off, but
If everything looks to be in order, I make a motion, we approve disconnects.
I'll second.
have a motion and a second to approve disconnects. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry.
No.
I don't remember ever signing
No,
that
you didn't have to.
before.
I think the sticky fell off of claims.
I was gonna say, you had a sticky on there, sign it, so I
Yeah,
signed it.
Yeah, it fell off claims.
Okay. Next up is claims in the amount of $237,648.
Has everybody had a chance to look at claims?
Yes, and I'll make a motion, we approve claims.
Have a motion to approve claims
I'll second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Go. No miscellaneous business. Our next meeting scheduled for Tuesday, April 21st at 5 p.m. We have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
And I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody being here.
Had to bring the
Eric,
golf
thanks
club
again for
next,
coming
Eric.
out.
Next time, you know. Getting close.